stormy night. I hope our internet holds out. We got thunder in the background, so it could be interesting. We've been enjoying storms here. This week, it's been like a regular rainfall. If we were trying to do hay, it would be a total pain in the butt. We've got some friends out west, and our son is out in Colorado, the one in the van, and it's dry, hot and dry. Our friend who lives near Great Falls, Montana, Loenga, said that they've had record heat, 100 degrees, 17% humidity. It's bad, really bad. So she's looking at no hay for her goats and figuring that out. So we're glad to have the rain, glad to have the storms. Keeps everything looking really green. You can see all the green back there. It's not usually that green in August, so we're glad. The garden's doing good. We should be getting corn pretty soon. We got green beans, not cauliflower yet, cabbage and broccoli. We've been enjoying new potatoes where the plant hasn't died off yet. So they're not really good for storing until the plant dies off. But we don't eat a lot of potatoes. Potatoes don't get along well with meat in your stomach. They taste real great and it's a cultural thing. But in practice, they don't agree in your stomach. In the Abundant Living course, we do a whole section on food groups, what gets along in your stomach, because it has a huge impact on your digestion. Even though we have a lot of cultural things, doesn't mean that everything goes together. So potatoes is one of those things, as a nightshade, it doesn't actually get along with meat very well. So we have been enjoying just potatoes, all on their own. One of our favorite meals is, it's an old Dutch dish, buttered eggs and lettuce. That's how I know it by. Maybe some of you know it by a different name, but it's mashed potatoes, or sometimes they use rice or quinoa. You're supposed to use lettuce, which, of course, I substitute other greens or various other stir-fried vegetables, whatever the vegetable of the day is. Hard-boiled eggs and browned butter over the top. And the brown butter is the key to everything. It is a really, really good light summer supper that's really easy. And we just use I use the leftover vegetables from lunch. It's no big deal to hard boil a few eggs. Sometimes we even have hard-boiled eggs for breakfast and just have cold hard-boiled eggs on it again. So we just reuse everything. But there's a lot of opportunities. That's what so Keith, I will get your questions. When Mark comes, I'll go back through the chat and I'll know to get your question. And if you could put at least part of the question or all of it in caps, that helps me pull it out of the chat easier. If we don't get to it, sometimes it happens that they don't actually even post. So if I don't tell you that I got your question, ask again or double check with me, because I try and do that. So more specifically with Wellness Wednesday, browned butter. The joke in our family is that the best way to brown butter is you put it in a pan on the stove and then walk away and forget about it until your nose reminds you. Oh, right, the butter. More technically, it's when you just heat the butter at a medium heat until it browns. You don't want it to burn. Burned butter isn't good, and you just give it to the pigs or chickens and start over, or the dog, put it on your dog food. As opposed to clarified butter. Clarified butter is when you heat the butter at a really low temperature and you're basically rendering it, because butter's a fat, of course. So you're separating the solids and the water from the fat, but you do it at a low temperature so it doesn't change color. It'll get kind of a nutty kind of smell, but not the same as with brown butter, which you do at medium heat. So it is. Clarified butter is sort of a superfood. It really is. It's one of the best things out there for your body. The Indians, with their Ayurveda, suggest, they call it ghee, and suggest it for everything. Everything. Because of the way it acts in your body, and I don't remember what the exact compound is now, but your body uses it as a major building block as well as a detoxification agent. So, yeah, it's all good. All good. What I wanted to talk about, Wellness Wednesday today, is opportunities. Opportunities, because homesteading is full of opportunities. The world's your oyster. There's all different directions you can go in, and we've talked to a lot of people lately who are just having trouble figuring out what direction to go in. That's one of the reasons that people bring in Mark II Consult, is because we have done a lot of stuff, just about everything, tried this or that, and can have a good idea of how things work together. But there's a ton of opportunities in homesteading and farmsteading and farming, and you can go in so many different directions. But they're not all the same for you. You know, there's that idea of good, better, best. And how do you pick what's good, what's better, and what's the best? Health is essential. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And as you look at the opportunities on your homestead, health needs to be one of the considerations, because you're your own best farmer, and if you don't have your health, you're not homesteading. I know several people in the tribe and on the chat here have health limitations, and it really impacts what you're able to do on your farm and what food you're able to raise for yourself and all these sorts of things. So your health is essential, and keeping in mind that you are your own best farmer. You're your own best farmer. You wouldn't overstock your land if you're grazing, whether it's pigs, goats, cows, whatever. You wouldn't harvest out of your garden or take hay off or anything like that without adding back in now and then. But we do it to ourselves all the time. And especially, I see this with the women, because we give and give and give and put out for everybody, and we're not trained in how to give back to ourselves, or how to say no, or how to know what is good to do, what's better to do, what's best to do, and how to draw those lines and nourish ourselves in small little ways that feed back. That basically is like fertilizing the soil of you and taking care of yourself. A lifestyle of renewal is absolutely essential. The old farmers, the old folks, they used to know how to do this. They knew. If you read Farmer Boy or Little House on the Prairie, they had a seasonal lifestyle. They weren't running to all the sports events in the winter. They weren't going to do this and going to do that all the time, all go, go, go. They were sitting around the fire. In the summer, they had their rockers on the porch, and they utilized them. They had busy seasons, and they had slow seasons. They understood this concept of renewal, that in our current culture and our current lifestyles, we're trying to homestead and farm like they did without allowing for that ebb and flow of activity that allows you to renew and keep your spirit healthy, not burn out, to keep your body from breaking down, allow it to rejuvenate and rebuild. It's difficult when you have an off-farm job and then you're trying to farm in the evenings and the weekends in your spare time. And learning, honoring those rhythms are very, very important, because if you don't have your health, if you burn out and you don't want to do it anymore, then you've lost everything. So It's important to be your own farmer. When I was a young mother, it happened way back when, I listened to Phyllis Schlafly now and again, and she said one time something that has stuck with me for forever. You can do it all, just not all at the same time. So, how do you choose good, better, best? How do you sort through all the opportunities, all the possibilities on your homestead and in your life, and keep the two in balance? I'm going to give you a few things. So, this is 1, 2, 3, and number 3 has a system to it. The first one is spend some time sitting in that rocking chair on the porch, or in your camp chair around the fire, or your camp chair on a Saturday morning watching the sunrise. This is important. Everybody that does self-improvement or business even, because I follow a lot of business people, will tell you that planning is the most important thing. Know why you're doing something. What is your deepest desire? What are your goals for what you're trying to do? That's the first thing. Just spend some time thinking about that, feeling what really feels like you feel it in your gut, because that's a real thing. And then prioritize all the things that come to mind. And pay attention, especially like the high priority ones, need to be the ones that really resonate down in your gut, because that is actually a source of your intelligence. This is not where your intelligence lies. This is information processing. You can store a lot of stuff there, absolutely, but your real intelligence is in your heart and your gut. So those are the places to pay attention to for your deepest desire, and then prioritizing all the desires that come up. The third one is what I call the opportunity matrix. I got this from David Nagel, so credit where credit is due. I didn't make this up, but it's been really helpful. And I shared this with another mom and wife who was really struggling with the direction of their farm and their farmstead and their farm business, loving the idea of growing food, struggling with the whole business part of it and all of the things that come with it. So, these are the 4 steps of this. Now that, once you know your desires and you have your priorities, when an opportunity comes up, is this something that you want to be, do, or have? You've decided on your farm you have time and energy for layer hens and a garden this year. And someone says, hey, I got a pot-bellied pig. You got some land, you want it? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Does it align with who you want to be, do, or have? Do you have the resources, energy, the mental capacity, as well as the physical capacity to take on another project that doesn't really align with the other 2 things you had going? Maybe yes, maybe no. If the answer is no, well, then that's an easy one. If the answer is yes, then you go to the next one. Is being, doing, or having this going to take me closer to my goal? So, if you have the physical, mental, emotional capacities to take on another thing, and your goal is to produce as much food on your little piece of land as you can for the fall, and you can do it with the pot-bellied pig, then yes, that may be the thing. If your goal is to just learn a little bit about these things that you know and then add a new thing next year, that's what you established as what you were going to do, then the pot-bellied pig might not be the thing for you. This is how you go through this decision-making process. The next one is life. So be, do, or have. Does it line up with your goals? And then, is being, doing, or having this in harmony with God's laws, the most primary one of which is to bring more life to you? We've had opportunities come up where we said, you know what, we could do it. And it might push things along, but, It makes me tired to think about it. And it's going to require that, it's going to take life away, pleasure in life, joy in life, or it's going to require us to be away from our kids when we don't want to be, or however it works. Is it going to add to your life to be, do, or have this? That's really a lot of what this is asking. Is it going to add to your life? If it's not going to add to your life, it's going to subtract from your life, then no. That's a good opportunity, but it doesn't line up with better and best. Stick with better and best always. So, being, goal, life. The last one is a real important one that gets left out a lot. And this is when I was talking to this gal about their goals for their farmstead. She was feeling like the more life one, that's getting questionable. It's getting hard. But this last one was the kicker for her. She said, this is the one that we really, really have to talk about. And that's others. Is being, doing, or having this going to violate the rights of others? Which means, is it going to negatively impact their ability to make choices in their life? That's a big thing. Sometimes, and we see this not infrequently in homesteading and farming operations, the one person really wants to farm and the other one kind of, or they want to raise their own food, but they don't necessarily want to be in business. Or they feel like their focus is this and this person's focus is this, but this one's is starting to not allow this person to do what they feel is really important. So it's taking away their right to choose, their ability to choose and live out what they feel is important in their life, even though the two complement. But you can see, as soon as an opportunity takes away from someone else's right to their life and their desires and goals and dreams, then you got to talk about it. Exactly, Keith. And if what you want to do takes from somebody else, it's a thing you got to work out and figure out. And it might not be a good thing to do. That falls in that good as opposed to better and best. And every time, because this is part of those universal laws that go back to life, every time that you choose good instead of better or best, you will lose. Every time. And that's when you start to need people like me to help you put your health back together. Or financial issues come up. Relationships break. All these issues that people deal with when you choose good instead of better and best. When you are doing things that don't bring more life or that violate somebody else's right to choose and impose things on them, that's when things start to fall apart and you start to have issues. Sometimes it's tough to choose, but I promise you, every time that you let go of good, better and best come along. We've had that here. We let go of an enterprise. Goats. Everybody knows Mark doesn't like goats. I'm forbidden from having goats, although we had them for a short time last year and it was okay. Because we had little pigs that needed goat milk and a friend that couldn't milk anymore because she was getting older and had physical limitations. We had them for our pigs, but it wasn't ultimately adding more life to our farm, and they were getting to be a pain, and we had somebody else that wanted milk for their kids, and so we rehomed the goats right on. When you let go of something good, though, even though the goats were doing good things here, they were grazing marginal areas, we had extra milk, it wasn't bad, but it was a good thing. We let go of it, and someone else got better and best. And we built relationships, and that's just one little example. But you will see this and it'll happen. And you'll keep your health. That's why I'm talking about this as part of Wellness Wednesday, because you're your own best farmer. And every time you go through this process with opportunities that come up and all the options and things available to you that you could do on your little piece of heaven here on earth, when you run through this, it helps you sort out and stay in a good place so that you're healthy. You build your health. You become regenerative. Your farm will be regenerative when you follow through with these. So be your own best farmer. Don't deplete yourself and your land and your farm and your relationships, chasing all of the goods and the shoulds and the coulds instead of the better and the best. Learn how to do self-care. As you go through this process, one of the first steps was to sit and spend some time quietly thinking. That's a self-care practice right there. Learn how to do these things just like you would taking care of your animals, taking care of your soil or your plants. Learn how to take care of yourself. You are invited. I'll put a link to my Good Living group on Facebook where I share tips, tricks, stuff, and encourage conversation, and you can join me there to learn more. Keeping it practical and real. If you're interested in deep diving with a whole bunch of other homestead farmer women types into self-care practices that are totally practical, build your health so that you're good to take care of then your family and your farm, let me know, because you are also invited to join us if you're interested, and it seems like it's a good fit for both of us. That's coming up soon, well, a couple months, but we can have conversations and help each other out. Pretty much Wellness Wednesday. If you would like a PDF copy of this, just for fun, to help you remember, to bring to conversations around your dinner table, message me and let me know, and I'm happy to just email it to you, or if you Facebook Messenger me, I can send it that way, whatever. You know, there's 20 ways to be in contact. So let me know if you would like to